This is 2OF Entertainment.
Hi guys, so today I'm going to try something a little bit different. Call this series, if you like, Shazad and Buddies. So whilst we're in this lockdown, everybody's in lockdown, so I figured let's try and have some conversations online and hook up with people that I haven't seen in a few years or spoken to in a few years. Or maybe not in that long actually, doesn't really matter, does it? And so today we're going to talk to a guy called Mozaffar Ghram, who I call Pakistan's Jay Leno, because he kind of looks like him. He's a car collector, he's restored over 100 cars. I did a feature on him last year in Drive Tribe. I'll put a link below if you're watching this on YouTube. And if you are watching this on YouTube, make sure you're subscribing and hit the notification bell so that you get all my latest videos. And that was about the fact that he found these incredible old cars that had the provenance of belonging to the sister of the founder of Pakistan that had been allowed to basically left outside and rot away. And it was a 25-year mission for him to get those cars and to restore them. And now they're on display in a museum looking absolutely resplendent. So that's just one of the many, many stories he's got to tell of his experience with the classic car scene and the classic car culture in Pakistan. So it'll be amazing to talk to him. So yeah, hope you enjoy this conversation. Hey Mohsin, how you doing? We finally tried to figure out the technology and we are at last face to face after a very, very long time.
This COVID-19 is teaching us so much besides the virus itself,
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
Have all the time.
We're having to learn a lot of new skills, a lot of new things.
To see you and to talk to you.
Yeah, you too, mate. I was trying to figure out like how, it must be, because it was Kuwait the last time that we actually met, wasn't it? So that must be, I don't know how many years ago that was.
7 years ago, yeah. That was, I think, 2012 or something, or 13 maybe?
It could be. No, you might be right. Yeah, you might be right, actually. 2012 or 2013. Yeah, it might be right. Yeah.
So that's a long time ago.
So cast your mind back to that. Cast your mind back to that. And you were...
Facebook.
Sorry?
It seems I know you very well and we meet quite often because of the Facebook.
That's right. It's the wonder of modern technology and social media that we stay in touch. And it really doesn't seem that long ago, does it? And of course, last year, just at the end of last year, I did an interview with you, which went up on drivetribe.com, which I'll put a link if you're watching this on YouTube, I'll put a link below. And it was a fantastic article, an incredible story about...
Thank you so much for that, actually. It was a wonderful article. Very well written.
Well, it was an incredible story. It was a story that was inspiring. And the fact that you were chasing these cars for a quarter of a century, and the cars with incredible provenance. They were, of course, Fatima Jinnah's cars. What was it? 1967 Mercedes and a 1955 Cadillac?
Yeah, that was a very boring 1966 Mercedes 200. Yeah. I didn't enjoy working on that at all. The other one was the 1955 Cadillac Series 62 convertible.
That was a beauty.
She had two 1955 Cadillacs. One was this one, the one I restored. And there was another one which somehow got into private hands many, many, many years ago. I don't know how.
Right.
And that was a 1955, like this one, but it was a Barrett's convertible. That was like a souped up twin car.
Right, yeah.
Yes,
wow.
The body was a little different, bigger wings.
Yeah.
And beautiful car. But that's now in private hands, and hopefully, let's see.
So one question about that is how comes they had these American cars then from the 50s? Because if you think about the fact that there was so much British influence in in the Indian subcontinent, formerly India and Pakistan, how did they end up with these American cars? Because I mean, Jinnah was very British centric, wasn't he?
Yeah, but I think since Jinnah also had American cars, his personal cars were Packard, and I hear a Graham Page. Then the car he got from the government of Pakistan on his desire was a Cadillac. So I maybe just to show that he was different, he didn't want to buy British cars, or show any influence that he had from the British.
Right.
And that could have carried on to Fatma Jinnah maybe, because.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think it was a trend in Pakistan, especially in the 1950s. People were buying out American cars. If I'm not wrong, I think the Chevrolet had put up their assembly plant here. So some of the Bel Airs were produced in Pakistan, yeah. And anyone with
when was
money.
that? Do you remember when was that? That they actually had a factory in Pakistan?
I saw this ad, an old ad showing a Karachi address saying Pakistani assembled Chevrolet Bel Air in 1957.
Wow.
So I assume it was like 56, 57. But I'm not entirely sure of this. I need to get deeper. But generally, people with money, the industrialists and all that, they were into American cars. There were a lot of Buicks and Cadillacs and Chevrolets in Pakistan at that time. Like my Nana had a Chevrolet, my Dada had a Chevrolet, my two uncles had Chevrolets. So somehow that was the fad at that time to buy. Like if you wanted to make a statement, you came in an American car.
So what happened to these American cars? I mean, if they were actually made there, then one would assume there were quite a few Chevrolets and all these other cars that you mentioned, the Buicks and the Cadillacs. So what happened to them? Where are they?
I just said my information only is limited to that one particular ad and a few conversations I had with people. I need to find out more on this. Either they were being assembled or maybe they were just being imported by that particular agent.
Right.
I'm not too sure about that. But there are still quite a few American cars. I mean, if one looks around, you find more American cars dumped here and there than British cars.
Right. Interesting.
British cars were mostly the small British cars. Among the middle class, I would say British cars were more popular. The Morris Minors, and before that, the Morris 10, Morris 12, the Austins, the Woodleys, the Rileys. They were much cheaper than the Chevrolets or other cars. But some people with style and class would go for a Bentley or a Jaguar. And I have found all these cars during my discovery drive.
You've restored like 100 cars, haven't you, over the years?
Yeah, but I'll tell you something. The most interesting aspect of my hobby is discovering cars. Like you find out about the car, you go, you spend hours, days looking for that particular car. Like if you have time, I'll just tell you a little, very interesting story.
Go for it.
This friend of mine, I'm talking about 30, 35 years ago. I was very young. I was a teenager, and my guru, Mozaffar Ghram, he had a few drinks, and he was in a really good mood, and he was like recalling a lot of stuff. And he told me, there was this guy who lost his Rolls Royce, and he was gambling, and he lost his Rolls Royce, and these guys said, okay, we'll come and take it in the morning. So during the night, he had the mazzoos over, and he got 4 walls built around the car, and he just closed the car. They came, he said, sorry, I don't have the car.
Oh my goodness.
So that car must be in that area, somewhere in the garden area, near the zoo somewhere. So I actually went looking for that car, and even Jahazir didn't know the owner's name or any other reference. So I just went close to the zoo and asking around the shops and the workshops and stuff, small shops, is there any old car lying around here, any old car? And finally, after 3-4 hours, I was on foot with my friend Jimaga, late Jimaga. We came across this workshop, and this guy was not interested. He was working on some old car. And he says, well, I am working on this old car. Maybe this is what you're looking for. It was a Morris Minor. I said, no. I'm not looking for this one. It's a bit bigger.
Something a bit more special, Yeah,
he said, no, nothing of that sort. And then I saw this, a pile of heap, and garbage, basically, old tires, old seats. And I saw maybe a square-inch piece where it was shining.
Yeah.
And somehow it struck to me, this looks like a Rolls-Royce grill.
My goodness.
But while I was walking to that heap, I was telling myself, no, it can't be. Not possible. Not under this heap. And I moved the stuff. It was the first thing I saw was the red RR.
Right.
A vintage Rolls-Royce from the 20s, 30s, early 30s. So I asked permission and I removed all the stuff myself. And holy man, it was a 1920s, 20 horsepower Rolls-Royce.
Was it intact? Was it intact?
Intact.
All right.
intact. The
Wow.
doors were missing, but the doors were very, very small.
Mhm.
And he said, yeah, these got stolen. Somebody took them away.
Right,
What
right,
can
right.
I do? I can't look after the car. The owners came once. They wanted to restore the car and they
Yeah.
just left it here, never came back. And then I got the owner's name and blah, 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 and got in touch with the owner, not myself, actually. I was not
Yeah.
interested to buy that car. I've never been a Rolls Royce guy.
Yeah.
So I told a few friends, and some of them were very interested. So they approached the owner, and he said, 7 lakhs in that time. Now, 7
Yeah.
lakhs in that time is a lot of money. I'm talking about 1983.
Yeah.
So 7 lakhs could have bought them 20, 30 MGA Roadsters and Austin Healers and
Yeah,
all that.
but I always find, especially something like you, I used to go car hunting in the Middle East, in Dubai, in the UAE, and I would often find like old muscle cars and classic cars and stuff like that with dealers, and I'd always find the same thing is like the cars were worthless. They would be sitting out there for years, just rotting away in the sun. And the moment
Yeah,
you asked about it, suddenly it was the most valuable car on the planet. Do you know what I mean? It's like,
absolutely.
all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's worth this much. I'm like, no, dude, it's just sitting out there. Look, wouldn't you rather just sell it? But yeah, I know what you mean. But carry on.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, we found the car. The car is still unrestored. It's with the owners. They're not selling it. But at least the car is out of that heap and it's like in their home in Karachi. Like another car, there was this Jaguar Mark V, a 1949 Jaguar Mark V. I discovered it when I was 17, 18 maybe.
Wow.
And when the owner saw me
And
inside his house,
that was just a few years ago, right? When you were 17, 18. That was just like a few years ago.
Thank you so much. Yeah, about 3 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm 20 now.
Exactly.
Anyways, I sneaked into the house and I was just taking a look at this Jaguar, beautiful Jaguar with dust and fallen leaves on the car. It was rusting badly, but it looks so beautiful. I mean, I think it's one of the prettiest cars I'd ever come across in my car hunts. The owner came out and he said, "What are you doing in my house?" I said, "I'm so sorry. There was nobody here." I knocked. I rang the bell. The bell is probably not working. He was an old man, a barrister.
So
And he said,
how many times have you been chased out of properties and stuff like that when you've been out car hunting?
Not many times, actually.
People
not
set the dog on you.
many times. But this guy was, that's why I'm telling you this story, because this guy was different. He got angry. He said, "No, you can't come into my house." I said, "Go away. I'm not selling this car."
Oh my God.
I said, "But you can't let the car rot like this because your house is very close to the sea, saltish air, it'll disappear."
Yeah.
He said, "No, I'm not selling the car." Anyways, I said, "Okay, can I come back again with a camera?" And he said, "No way. Don't ever come back." I said,
Wow.
"Okay." He was a grouchy old man.
My goodness.
So the next time I went again, I had to go again because I just fell in love with that. So I went again, I sneaked in and saw the car, took some pictures this time, interior, outside and all that. This time the driver came out and even an older man, in his 70s. And he says, "Saab will never sell this car." I used to, he bought it brand new. I was with him since. I've been with him since, and we used to drive it very often.
So which Jaguar was it again?
It's a 1949 Mark V I'm talking about.
Wow.
So, anyways, the third time around again, I sneaked in. I would do it very frequently, actually. Every 4 or 5 days, I had to go and take a look at the car. So then I got caught again, and he got very angry with me. Then one day I went. I said, "Okay, let me take his permission first."
Yeah.
What the heck, the bell was not working. So I went inside. I knocked on the door.
Yeah.
And he opened the door after a while. And he saw me and he said, "How many times do I have to tell you I'm not selling this car?" The door was closed.
Oh my
Shut on
God.
me. I didn't know what to do. Next time around, maybe after 2 months or 3 months, I gathered courage, went back again. I said, "To heck with him, But this time I saw the gate was locked. It had a lock from inside.
Oh my goodness.
So I could not go in unless I climbed the wall and jumped in. And that wasn't very nice.
That's definitely breaking and entering, yeah.
Yeah. So I was looking at the car from outside only, and this old gentleman, Mr. Fazlur Rahman Saab, barrister, is a fantastic human being. Later I found out. So he saw me, he drove in and with his driver, and he got off the car. He goes, "Again? Yeah, what are you doing?" I said, "I can't help it. I love your car so much and I can't see this car rot like this. You have to either restore it for yourself or you let me have it. I'm a student, but I can give you a decent offer. And he said, what kind of offer? Come in. So I went in with him. And we stood next to the car. Then he told me the story how he bought the car and all that. And then he said, okay, what kind of offer or money do you have in mind for this car? I said 15,000 rupees. Now, just to give you an idea, I was getting a MGA Roadster for 5,000 rupees.
Wow.
I was getting a Spitfire for 1,500 rupees.
For
I was getting
1,500 rupees. Oh my God!
Yeah.
So just for our international viewers, just put that into dollars. What that would be? 1,500 rupees for a Spitfire.
That's $100.
My goodness, that is crazy.
No, not even $100. $10.
Oh my God.
$10. Yeah, $10.
That is bonkers.
$100 was what I was offering for this Jaguar Mark V.
Oh my God. I tell you what, if
So
there wasn't a lockdown right now, anybody watching this YouTube would be trying to book tickets to Pakistan because they think they can buy Spitfires for $10. But that's not the case. But I'll let you carry on.
Okay. So anyway, this guy said, no. My son is studying in UK, and he brought his friend over once, a British guy, and he was into cars, and he offered me 40,000 pounds.
Wow.
And I said, look, no, these are non-internet days.
Yeah.
So I was carrying a magazine with me. So I just pulled it out of my car, and I said, look, here's one for sale for 500 pounds.
Yeah.
In bad condition, but better condition than your car.
Yeah.
So these are the values. Why would that British be such a fool to leave this 500-pound car and come to Pakistan and pick it up? So he got very upset.
Yeah.
You think I'm lying? I said, no, I'm not saying that you're lying. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the car is not worth 40,000 pounds. Okay, then you come back when you think it's worth 40,000 pounds. So he showed me the door again.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways, to cut a long story short, one day I was just going in my normal car, which was my daily driver, a 1952 Citroen Traction Avant.
My goodness.
And
that's your daily driver. That's a great classic in itself. That's a classic in itself. That is an awesome machine.
Yeah. So that was my daily driver. And he passed me by, and he was into cars, I think so. When he was a young man, he liked cars.
He must have been,
Yeah, his daily driver was a Peugeot 404, I think,
Right,
404. And he was passing me by, his driver was driving, and I saw him looking at my car. He hadn't seen me.
Yeah.
Then he looked up at me, and his eyes got wide open. He waved at me to stop the car.
Yeah.
And then he got off the car. Oh my God, you have the Citroen. I said, yeah. And whose car was this? I said, well, originally it was Adilji Dilshaw's car. He said, Adilji was a friend of mine, and he used to come to my house in this car. Because this is the only Citroen like this in Pakistan, in Karachi at least. And he goes, well, it seems you're very fond of old cars. I said, of course I am. That's why I keep coming to your house.
Yeah, exactly.
He said, okay.
Certainly persistent.
Come over tomorrow sometime in the evening. We'll have a cup of tea. Anyways, so I went, and he said, okay, Mohsin, 40,000 pounds was what I was asking. Try and come close to that. I want to give
40,000 pounds. Oh my God! Yeah, that back then. I mean, this is, and when we're talking, this is what what year was this?
1986.
1986. So 40,000 pounds, 1986 is a lot of money. That's a lot of money. You know, even in the UK, you could buy half a house for that. You know, you can't even buy a room now for that much. But at that time, you could.
That, when, like you said, when you approached them, the car which was rotting away, which had rotten totally, and suddenly they would think they are sitting on a gold mine.
Yeah.
They would ask prices which were absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
So, anyways, just to finish the story, after 2 years or so, we were not in touch, and the gentleman's daughter called me. I didn't know her, and she called me, I am so and so, I got your number from my father.
Yeah.
My father is not well, and he told me to call you and ask you if you want the car. We have given an ad on Sunday, which is tomorrow.
Yeah.
And we will give the car to the highest bidder.
Right.
And we'll let you know whatever the highest offer is. So the next day, I went there around 11ish in the morning, and I just stayed there.
Yeah.
And she said, you can go home, we'll call you, we'll give you the first, chance to refuse. I said, no, I'm not going anywhere.
I'm not moving anywhere.
Yeah. And believe me, I did not even have 2,000 rupees with me.
Oh my goodness.
And anyways, in the late afternoon, she said, well, the highest offer we have got so far is 20,000.
Right.
I said, well, I offered 15,000. I'll increase my offer to 20,000. So she said, no, the minimum that we can sell the car for is like 30,000. I said, okay, it's done. Because 30,000 rupees was like 300 pounds.
Wow.
So for 40,000 pounds, the expectation
it
came down to 300 pounds.
That's quite a
not even
substantial
300
discount.
pounds.
Yeah.
So then I said, okay, fine, I'll buy this car. Here's 1,000 rupee, or maybe I had 4,000 rupees. Just a few thousand rupees. I said, this is my payment to confirm that I'm buying the car. Yeah, and I'll speak to you tomorrow. They said, okay. So then I spoke to my mom. My mom was the bridge between me and my dad.
Right.
So I had the money in my hand.
So you're like, Mom, I've done this thing that I shouldn't have done. Can you get the rest of the money for me? So what that if you left 4,000 rupees, so you would have needed another 26,000 rupees, which that's not a small amount of money.
I got full 30,000 from my father.
Right. All right. Cool.
And then he was very happy to see the car. It was a beautiful car. Yeah. It was a beautiful car. Yeah.
So the wonderful thing about these things is, like you mentioned right at the beginning, is the stories that go with the cars, isn't it? Because every car's got a story to tell, and that's the crucial thing, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the best part, actually. One of the best parts, actually, like the Austin Healey 100 I have, which is probably my favorite car. I've had this car for about 30 years now, 27, 28 years. I received this call from somebody I knew, and she said, Mohsin, my uncle is coming from France. He lives there. He is 90 plus years old, and he saw your car's picture in Dawn. He reached Dawn on the net, and he claims that this was his car.
Wow.
I said, well, sorry to disappoint you. This cannot be your uncle's car, because another gentleman came to my house with black and white pictures of this car, and he got his pictures taken with his wife in the car, and he said, okay, he had bought it new back then in the 50s. She said, Mohsin, just go along. He's 91, he's old, and he's very excited. That's the first thing he wants to do. As soon as he lands in Karachi, he wants to come and take a look at the car. So just go along with it.
Yeah, fair enough. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Now, I had taken out a birth certificate of that car from the British Heritage.
Right.
So I knew where the car was bought from, where it was ordered from, what was the color on the car and all. So now this gentleman drives in his car, gets off the car. He doesn't say hello, hi, an old man with his wife. And suddenly goes, my beautiful spruce green Healey. Now, when he said spruce green, now that's a that's a color that people don't know about this name of this color, spruce green.
Right.
And I just got thinking, okay, oh my God, this could be the actual owner.
Yeah.
I said, where did you buy the car from? And he said, Holland. Now the birth certificate had that the car was actually bought from an agent in Holland. And it was shipped from Holland to Pakistan.
All right.
I said, oh my God, this is indeed your car.
Oh my goodness.
Then I told him the story. I said, I thought this is not your car. I was just going to play along, but this is actually your car.
That's amazing.
So it was very exciting,
How emotional was that for him? Because, you do find, like, when you're reunited with cars, they can really, it can be quite an emotional thing.
Yeah, it can be. He was quite composed. He was all right.
Yeah.
But he seemed, for a 91-year-old, he seemed very excited.
It's amazing, yeah.
His wife was too. Then he told me the story that his wife, at that time, they weren't married. They were just, courting.
Courting, yeah.
And they were in Holland. He was working for Pakistan Foreign Office.
Right.
So they had planned to go on a holiday, now either before getting married or after getting married, within the continent, and they were looking for a car. They wanted a motoring holiday.
Right.
So he said, I shortlisted two cars, a Jaguar XK140 and this Austin Healey 100.
Right.
So I was quite surprised that if you had the money to buy a Jaguar XK140, what made you buy the Austin Healey?
Yeah.
Now, if you ask me personally, I like the Austin Healey more than the E-Type. It has a certain charm in it.
Yeah.
So he said, Mohsin, because I like this car more. I thought the Austin Healey 100 was more beautiful than the Jaguar. I said, okay, salute.
And so you say you like the car, and I've seen pictures of you really using this car? I mean, you don't. This is not just a show car, is it? I mean, you really put it through its paces. You drive up and down the country in this thing.
Yeah, it's far from a show car. Actually,
Yeah.
it's not. It looks good in pictures. There are still a lot of shortcomings in the restoration.
Yeah.
A lot of parts I need to get and do a better job, which
So-
I will do one day.
So tell me about
But I
this. So
plan to-
how difficult is it to be a classic car enthusiast in Pakistan? I mean, do you have a network of parts? Can you easily import stuff? I mean, how much dedication do you need to do this sort of stuff?
You see, when I started, there was no internet, and I was not really a moneyed guy ever.
Yeah.
So it was always a struggle. I would get in, fell in love with the car, and then I would just want to have it. And this way or that way, I would manage to get the money to pick up the car.
Yeah.
Then I wouldn't have the money to work on it.
Yeah.
So I would work on it myself. I would work hard on the existing parts to repair them rather than going out buying new parts. So for me, it has always been a struggle, difficult, but because of my personal own reasons. But now there's so many people have gotten into it. It's not that difficult. You need to have deep pockets, of course.
Yeah.
Because the general trend is you buy a car, you strip it apart,
Yeah.
and then you buy brand new parts online, which takes you about half a day.
Yeah.
You charge your card, and when the
There you
parts,
go.
by the time the parts are here, the body is going into the paint booth,
Right.
and
Right.
then and everything is there. It's much easier for the lot who are getting into this hobby now.
So
But in our time, there was no internet.
Yeah, of course, I
We
know.
didn't get car magazines in Pakistan. It was very, very difficult.
So is it difficult to import stuff? Do you have to pay a lot of duty on it or stuff? Is there restrictions to that sort of thing?
Yeah, a lot of restrictions. They make it almost impossible to import parts, even small, something as small as, I just got buttons from my Austin Healy, the top Tone cover buttons.
Yeah.
And I bought them for like 60 pounds, and with freight, it was like 80 pounds.
Right.
And I didn't know how the system worked here. I'm talking about many years ago.
Yeah.
I didn't know how the system. I thought maybe just a small, packet, and wouldn't cost much. And then the duty was so much on it. I ended up paying like 120 pounds on top of what I paid for the parts.
Wow.
And another instance, by mistake, CJ Pony from USA, I had given them a Dubai address, a Sharjah address, to send the parts. There's a lot of parts, worth about Pakistani 600,000 rupees, with about $5,000. And they sent the parts to Pakistan, my billing address. I had given the billing address to Pakistan. They shipped the parts to Pakistan, and they got stuck at the port. And I had to pay the same amount what I paid for the parts in duties.
Right. Oh my God.
So that really hurt. That really hurt. So now what people do is they send the parts to Dubai, Sharjah, if they have a contact there.
Yeah.
And then they use these, we call them KPRs. Now KPRs are people who, they're like couriers, private couriers.
Right. So they're coming back and forth. So they just bring it. Yeah. So they just bring in the hand luggage and stuff like that. Yeah. But what about
they charge by kilos?
Yeah. So what about actual cars though? Is it easy to import or export cars, or you can't? Once you've got the cars there, that's all you've got, or can you still buy classic cars and bring them into the country?
No, we are stuck with the cars that we have in Pakistan.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can't import a car which is more than 3 years old, which is very unfortunate.
Right.
And some years ago, there was some amnesty scheme where the government said, okay, if you guys are hiding any cars which are non-duty paid, which were smuggled and blah, 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 you have 1 month to declare them, pay a certain penalty, pay this much duty, and you can get the car registered.
Yeah.
So people found a loophole, and they imported cars like 70, 80, 90 cars maybe in that limited time.
Right.
And they got the cars registered. But otherwise, no, it's a total block. We have tried our best. Personally, I've met 2 prime ministers and 1 president of Pakistan, trying to convince them to, these cars don't hurt. The more the merrier.
No,
like,
because, and
more
also,
cars.
yeah, and also because you're doing, I mean, you do events there, you do drives, so you're creating quite a car scene, a car culture, and when you start these things, then obviously people want to have classic cars and they want to have unique metal. And if you're restricted by what you've got in the country, then that really limits what your options are, doesn't it?
It does. And the second thing is, which kind of includes myself also to an extent, that the rich boys, they start collecting, and I don't want to use the word hoarding, because we are all friends. But there are fewer people with a lot of cars, like on an average 7, 8, 9, 10 cars per guy. So that doesn't leave many cars for those who are looking for cars, who want to buy cars. And sometimes I tell my friends, yeah, please sell this particular car. You have not used it in 30 years or 20 years. You're not doing anything to it. I don't see you doing anything to it. So let it go. And sometimes they agree, sometimes they don't. So there's still a lot of cars which
it must be a big wrench. So for example, I read a few years ago about a Ferrari 250 that was there, and that actually left the country. That must be a real wrench to see something like that leaving the country. You know, especially to have it there and then to see it, because it can't come back, can it?
It can never come back, no. And I'll try and be very brief on this Ferrari. I found out about, somebody said there's this house on Share Faisal, and they have a Ferrari. So I went in my Citroen, I tried to look at the car, they wouldn't allow me in. The main guy was there, Anwar Zahri. Anyways, I got to see the car. And the guy said, I'm selling it. And I said, how much? How much? I said, tell me. He said, 100,000 rupees. This is
oh my
year
God.
1984.
That's a bargain.
1984. 100,000 rupees in today's money is what, $7,000?
Oh my God! And
no.
this is
$700, $800.
And this is a Ferrari 250. What was it? 250? Was it
Lusso?
Lusso.
It was
wow.
a 250 GT Lusso.
Oh my God!
One just got sold for $3 million.
Oh my God!
So I went back running to my dad. So, Dad, I want this car. 100,000 bucks. Loan me this money. I was booked to go to States for studies. So he said, no, you are going anyways. You won't be here for 5, 6 years.
Oh my God.
So the car will rot away. I said, it will not rot away. I'll put grease on the car and blah, blah. He said, no, I don't have money. I said, I know you have money. I know you have saved money for me also. He said, no. I said, I can delay my going to US, whatever you have to pay as my tuition fee for the first year. Let me buy this car, please. And he said,
my
no
God.
So I went back to the car owner. I said, you see, I have this Citroen, I have this Frog Sprite, I have got MGPD in pieces, and I can gather about 45,000 bucks if I sell all these. Please let me have the car for 45,000 bucks. And obviously the guy said, this is about $300. So the deal didn't go through. But now somebody from the family, their accountant actually got in touch with me and said, okay, the madam who owns the car is not well. She's in US and she wants to sell the car.
Right.
How much do you think we can get for this car?
I
said, I'll be very honest. What I'm going to offer you is what I can offer you. But the car is worth more. But try and get this car for you. And he said, how much? I said, 35 lakhs. How much is that in dollars? I don't know. That's about $30,000 approximately. Right. $25,000. He said, no, that's too less. The car is worth a lot more. You must give me an offer of maybe 10 million rupees.
Wow.
That's about $60,000, I think.
Right.
About $60,000. I said, okay, you have an offer of $60,000, 10 million rupees. He said, okay, I'll get back next day. Next day, he called me. He said, okay, you have to give me 10 million for the car and 1 million for me as my take.
Oh, my goodness. Okay.
So it's 11 million. I said, done. Now, I didn't have the money. I could have raised actually, but I thought of some friends I knew that if I tell them, they would just pick it up. So I said, okay, 11 million done. So he said, okay, I've told the madam, let's wait 2 days, 3 days. I said, okay. Then he got back and said, you have to increase the offer to 15 million.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I said, okay, done. To cut it short, I went up to 25 million.
Wow.
There was this doctor from Lahore living in US, California. He said, I'll pay 25 million for the car. But then they didn't sell it. They sold it to, what the story goes that they sold it to somebody here. And for lesser amount than this. And then that guy sent it to US.
Oh my
and there's another story, the family actually sent it there. So I don't know. It was
It's
sold
a
for
shame, though.
1.9
It's a
million
shame.
dollars.
It's a shame. It's a real shame because it sounds like, that's a real wrench to lose a car like that from the country. And also, like, if you're diminishing number of cars that end up in collections, and then God forbid if somebody damages a car or writes it off, then that's a real shame. I'll tell you what, Mohsen, it's been amazing to talk to you. There are tons more stories, clearly, that we can still cover for sure. Yeah. And I think probably we shall do this again. I think we're in this lockdown for a long haul. But I think we'll pick up some more stories later on, because these stories have been absolutely amazing, and it's been absolutely wonderful to talk to you today.
It's been my pleasure entirely. I love talking to you, and talking about cars is something I love. So whenever I look forward to
absolutely, that's it. Because if we let this go, it could go on for hours. I know that. So
I know. I just started actually.
Yeah. Oh my God! Well, awesome. Thanks so much for doing this, Mohsen. Look after yourself. Take care. Keep safe in this lockdown, and hope to speak to you again really, really soon. Take care, buddy, and hi to everybody in Pakistan. All right. Take care, mate.
Thank you. You take care. Bye bye.
Oh, that was great, wasn't it? I mean, that was such a fantastic conversation to have with an absolute legend of the classic car scene and classic car culture in Pakistan. If you happen to be out there, make sure you look him up. But also you can find him online, just search for him. And I think there's some links. I'll put some links to sort of the classic car sites and stuff like that. I think there's a Facebook page and stuff like that. I'll put it in the links below. Make sure you are subscribing to this channel. Hit the notification button as well. And share it around. Tell other people to come and join as well, and make sure that they share. Also, if I can point my finger correctly, my hashtag Brown Car Guy. Make sure you follow me on all of the social media channels. It's Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Search for Brown Car Guy, and of course also on browncarguy.com. So we'll try and do a few more of these over the next few weeks. Stay tuned. Let me know what you think of them. Let me know if there are particularly people that you think I should talk to, and we'll see what we can do. Thanks so much.